And let me state for the record, yes, I saw that part too. Thank you. Peggy Carter wasn't interested in until Captain America got muscles. That's why she did that. I heard, now this is hearsay, counselor, but I heard that she did the chest touch. That wasn't in the script for the initial Captain America. They left it in, obviously. She got jealous when another girl kissed him and shot at him. She would have if he she wouldn't have if he was still weedy. Yep. So with that in mind, when we see Captain America gets shot up with the super sauce, the super gear, goes into the super chamber and pops out with some all yoked, right, overnight, but still has the mentality of the former weedy, weesh, wimpy Captain America, but he's a good guy, right? Now he's a beta male in an alpha male's body. That is a classic fantasy, by the way, for well, certainly back during the golden era of comics, it certainly was. But here you have a guy who just overnight goes into the super chamber and comes out, and now he's Captain America. And now chicks want to touch his chest, and now they want to get down with him. Yeah, because it's alpha fucks, beta bucks. And the alpha fuck side, Matt, Jordan Peterson, Mac and Murphy, date psych dude, whoever else, Chris Williamson. Chris Williamson would not be as popular on his show if he was like obese. He would not be popular if he would not have the same show if he was 40 pounds overweight. If he was like, go look at Chris Williamson's banner across his YouTube channel. Like he's basically doing like the most muscular flex. Like he's doing one of these things, and he definitely does a lot of work. Respect the hustle, respect the work. But dude, would not be the Chris Williamson were he not in shape. So cut the shit. Please cut the shit. When we want to talk about how the litmus test is long-term security, long-term relationships, marriage, if that's your formalization of it, long-term fulfillment of women's security needs, women's long-term, like I need babies, I need provisioning, protection, and parental investment. You don't get there without the alpha fuck side first. You don't get into that. Like not in an idealized sense anyways. So can we please, Lord in heaven above, acknowledge that hypergamy doesn't just apply to marrying up the socioeconomic ladder. It's also about fucking up the physicality ladder as well, as we've seen with all the women on Ellen and The View and God knows whatever show else. Can we please cut the shit and get down to brass tacks? No, we can't, because that's an unflattering aspect of female nature. So just showing that, like, oh, but see, women will laugh and that they'll go, you go girl kind of thing. Oh, look, Chris Evans. They'll laugh at that and they'll make like, why are you so insecure? Why are you so intimidated? I'm not. I'm pointing out the obvious. So can we at least cut the shit about how hypergamy is only about marrying up? It's not. There is short-term sexual and there is long-term security. Alpha fucks, beta bucks, alpha seed, beta need. They are not the same things. I also want to point out this. Now, there's an essay that I think it might be a little bit long-winded, so I don't think I'm going to read it directly to you, but there was an essay on Roissy, Roissy. It is now heartiste.org, HEARTISTE.org. All of his archives are on there. One of those great seminal posts by Roissy was the first of all, it's the House of Cards post, which is like women who have these standards. If you see how they say, oh, I want a guy who's 6 feet tall, he's got to have six-pack abs, he's got to have this, he's got to have that, he's got to love his mom, like down the 436 bullet point checklist, which, by the way, Roissy coined that. And then you see who they date, and they might have checked off 4 of this big multiple, dozen or so prerequisites. And then they'll say, we're working on the rest. That's number one. But the other part of it is the fact that provisioning, protection, and parental investment is separate from alpha fucks. You want to know why people want to throw rocks at dual mating right now? Because they simply do not want to recognize the fact that women love Chris Evans. Women want to fuck Chris Hemsworth. Women want to fuck Michael B. Jordan. Women want to fuck a guy like that looked like the model that ripped off his shirt. They want to. Can we please acknowledge that instead of saying, well, the litmus test, the way we're going to start, the way we rank men and women, the way we're going to have like where it's a sort of mating or hypergamous mating, it's only about who's marrying who. The seminal post that was on Royce's channel was this: it says, who's are cads like alphas, are cads out banging dads? Because what will happen is you'll get these guys who will fall into the idea that long-term security and marriage and everything else and starting a family and having babies, and that's like the ultimate goal. Okay, I can agree with you on that in the long term. But people say, so people will use that. They go, see, beta males are winning the reproductive arms race. No, they're not. Because if you took away hormonal birth control, you might have a case. If you took away on-demand abortion, you might have a case. If you took away the ability to fuck and not get pregnant, then I might agree with you. But we don't. And ever since the sexual revolution, thank you, Mary Louise, whatever Perry, whatever the fuck your name is, this is what you need to be focusing on the next, I don't know, TED talk that you give. Ever since in the post-sexual revolution world, because of the fact that we have this at least, sort of background subroutine running in the back of women's minds that they can take the pill and not have to worry about getting pregnant. What is women's sexual strategy under those conditions? Now, if you want to go and point and say, well, women got in the workplace, they got a rise in divorce, all this other stuff, all these horrible degenerate things that we talk about in 2023 that all started back in like 1965, 1970, 71, somewhere in there. We can trace that all the way back to the sexual revolution. But what happened? Why did the sexual revolution even start? Because women could have sex without getting pregnant. So what happens when you put that level of control over reproduction in the hands of women? This is what you get. This is where we are. 2023. You get the red pill. Oh, it's feminism of the 1970s, like the late 60s, early 70s. Stop it. That's gone. Gloria Steinem, Betty Friedan, that's all. It's like a fart in the wind. But we still cling to all that rhetoric. We still cling to all that bullshit. We still cling to, like, women don't even know where they're getting it from, and they still repeat it. So why is that? Why are we at where we're at? Well, because we are now like in the 60th year or ish of a humanity, the human state, that we can have casual sex. So what happens? Again, going back to Royce's blog post, which is called "Are Dads Out Banging Cads?" or whatever, vice versa. And the point was this: is there was a lot of people who were saying, well, women want to fuck those guys, but they marry the beta males. They marry the guys who are the good bets for the future. They marry the guys who take care of the guys who can afford to pay for a date. They marry the guys who take care of their shit. And that might be because those guys, primarily 80% of them, are beta males looking for a workaround so that they can finally get fucked. Because remember, it comes down to getting laid. And so what happens is when they get to, 29, 30, 31 years old, because let's be honest, the average age of first marriage in the United States for men is 31, 32. I think it's 32. For women, it's 30. Thank you, James Sexton, for updating my numbers. That's how long people wait to get married, to formalize monogamy. Now we have there's a lot of social stuff. There's a lot of psychology stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes along with that as well. But why do you think that is? Why is the average age of first marriage? I mean, it's like unheard of. How did we get to that point? Because we have hormonal birth control that allows for it. That's why. So what happens if we have a sexual marketplace that is by women and for women, defined by women, what does it look like? Well, it looks like where we're at right now in the 21st century. That's what it looks like. So when Matt Walsh is just dumbfounded by the fact that a feminist woman would want to get with a conservative guy, then it's like this come to Jesus moment where the prodigal daughter returneth. And he's right about this. The conservatives pat themselves on the back and like, see, we were right all along. She should have been a conservative woman from the start. Think of how we could have just avoided all this stuff if she would have just, woke up and wised up. And fucked guys who have credit cards and can pay for dates. Right? But he fixates on the money. He fixates on, well, it sounds like she's really a gold digger. Now, and that might be true. But the fact is you're still telling guys to have resources, to be responsible, to be the guy who can do that. Are you going to get rolled by a girl who might be a gold digger? Probably, because you guys have been like, throwing rocks at the red pill, the other side of all this, for a long time.